Hey guys, want to know how I turned a plain old jean jacket into a Pamela Colman Smith jean jacket? Stay tuned. So I found this picture of Pamela Colman Smith on Wiki Commons, and according to the licensing information, it is in the public domain in the United States. So I'm going to be using this photo, and I mean, this is the popular photo of Pixie that everyone knows and loves. You see this photo and you're in the tarot community, you know who this is. So that's why I want to use this photo. So I purchased some rice paper for this project because I figured, if I'm going to decoupage anything onto denim, I think rice paper is the way to go. It's a nice sturdy material, and I was able to print on tissue paper. Why not try printing on rice paper? So right now I'm going to tape the rice paper onto cardstock. This is 100-pound cardstock, and I'm doing that to give it a nice strong base to sit on so that when it goes through the paper feeder in the rear tray of my printer, it'll go nice and smoothly. So the paper is taped on, I'm putting it into the feeder, and we are going to get our printout of Pamela Colman Smith. Oof, that was a rough pull. All right, here we go. Hopefully this will come out fine and won't cause any paper jams. All right, here she comes. She's looking a little purple, but I don't know what's going on with my printer. This is supposed to be a black and white photo. You saw it, right? You saw it on the website. I think... You know what? I think I like it. I think it'll go well with the denim. It's not going to be just stark black and white. I can get used to the purple, I think. And here's a printout of the signature. So I removed the rice paper off of the cardstock backing, and now I'm going to rip the rice paper because I don't want to slap on a rectangular piece of paper onto the jacket. I just want her silhouette shape on the jacket. So if I use a scissor, it's going to leave very harsh lines on the edges. So by ripping it, the edges of the photo will blend in a lot better into the jacket than if I had cut straight lines. So here she is completely cut out, looking fabulous and ready for the next step. So now I'm going to cut out the signature. And I know I didn't use scissors for the photo, but for the signature, because it is a smaller image, I wanted to be just a little more precise. But again, I'm not going to cut straight lines. I'm just cutting around the letters, curving in and out, just to avoid those harsh lines. And I'm leaving a little bit of a border around the letters as well. So there we have it, our Pamela Colman Smith signature. So next, I'm going to be painting the back of the rice paper with white acrylic paint. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if I just slapped on the rice paper onto the jean jacket with Mod Podge, because the rice paper is so transparent, it would basically disappear into the jacket. You would barely be able to see the image because of the transparency. But by putting white paint on the back, you create a nice bright backing. And I'm doing the same for the signature. So now I am laying the jean jacket down on the table, and I'm just flattening it out, and then I'm going to bring out the cutouts and try to position them exactly where I want to see them on the jacket before I glue them down with the Mod Podge. And for this project, I'm using fabric Mod Podge. There's all different kinds of Mod Podge. You can find a formula for dishwasher safe items, for furniture, for outdoor use. If you want a super gloss finish, there's all different kinds. But if you're doing a project that involves fabric, the fabric Mod Podge is the right choice because it leaves the material nice and soft. It doesn't leave it stiff and make it uncomfortable, especially if it's an item you're going to be wearing. And from what I understand, it's machine washable in cold water. So this is the perfect formula to use for this kind of project. I took out some parchment paper and put it underneath the rice paper so that I can do a really good job at getting the edges of the image. It's important to get those edges coated nicely because you don't want your image to start peeling off the jacket. And, I didn't want to ruin the jacket. So putting the parchment paper underneath for a little protection was very helpful here. Okay, so we have our Pamela Colman Smith image all Mod Podged up, and we're going to position it to where we want and make sure there's no wrinkles in there. I'm going to use a piece of saran wrap just to press it down a little bit more because from what I hear, Mod Podge doesn't stick to saran wrap. So it's a nice tool to use to just make sure that your project is pressed down perfectly. And now we'll do the same thing to the signature. And now we'll pat that down with saran wrap as well and get it nicely glued into the jacket. All right, so now that we laid everything down, we're going to give the two images a top coat of the fabric Mod Podge. So I'm just brushing away on top and also making sure I get the edges. Now, the problem with what I did here, I feel like I was a little sloppy with the edges. I feel if I had used a softer brush and maybe a smaller brush, I could have been a little more precise with how the edges were glued over. Now again, Mod Podge dries clear, so it's not awful, but when you tilt it in the light in a certain way, you will be able to see the gloss of the top coat and you will be able to see where those edges are. So in retrospect, I would have used a different brush. I would have been a little bit more careful with how I did the edges, but I think it came out okay. So, according to the instructions on the Mod Podge bottle, after 72 hours of drying, this will become machine washable in cold water in the gentle cycle. So, what do you think, you guys? Is this worth hitting the like button? Come on, hit the like button. And you know what? Maybe I'll add a little something later because I feel like it needs more. It needs more. Maybe I should paint something, little designs. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know what I should add to this in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye!